The video game industry is the only thing I've seen, the only hobby I've truly enjoyed that will literally turn around and tell you, you are not good enough. And then when you don't like the product they provide you, they get mad at you and blame you, the consumer, for not buying it in the first place. Even though we as gamers have told the industry, the developers, the publishers, the suits, the C-suites, exactly what we want in the products they're trying to give us, and they still blame us for their own failures. And yesterday with Crimson Desert exposed that directly. Watching a game like Crimson Desert get pulled into the hype cycle, not by the media, not by actual marketing, but by actual people who want to play video games and then getting pushed to the moon, is exactly what the industry itself does not want. The game is bucking the trends. It's going against the grain, and the industry hates it, but apparently gamers are actually enjoying it. And that's the part that makes everybody so incredibly angry. We're game journalists, and I'm going to use that quote incredibly loosely, by the way, are the ones going around and trying to crap all over a video game that people want to definitely enjoy. And the problem is how the actual industry itself reacts to the game journalists, not to the proper consumers who are literally the ones buying the product. And that's the real crazy part about all of this, is how the actual industry itself reacts and how the gatekeeping of this industry continues on a consistent basis. And truly, it boggles my mind how so many companies literally avoid any sort of actual connection to their consumers directly and try to go through the old classic channels that literally don't work anymore. Website after website, journalist after journalist, fired, canned, closed, gone, over and over again. Not only because they try to shove their own political agenda into basically everything they talk about, which truly can be incredibly annoying, even if you agree with that political agenda. It's the fact that these people do not enjoy video games, and they don't understand the zeitgeist or what makes games great in the first place. And yes, I'm going off on a tangent early on in the video because clearly it's something that I really care about. I love this hobby, and when a game comes out that should be pretty good by all the standards that I'm seeing online, the problem is the gaming industry reacts in the exact wrong way. And it goes to show how more wrong game journalists in fact are, and how completely out of touch and out of time and out of my head when she's not around the industry actually is when they listen to the wrong people instead of listening to their customers. Don't worry, this is all going to make a ton of sense right now. Because according to VGC, Crimson Desert studio Pearl Abyss has seen its share price plummet by nearly 30% after the game's first reviews arrived. Okay, hold on. I have to pop off on this right now. Do you want to know why every single game you've played recently looks the same, plays the same, has the exact same kind of puzzles, has the yellow paint smeared everywhere? I'm looking at you, Resident Evil. Don't think I didn't notice you either. I'm watching you, buddy. Back it up. And then goes ahead and tries to use DSP as their average barometer of what video games should play like. No, I'm not kidding. It's because of like this. Game journalists aren't actual gamers. Some of them are. Some of them are really good. The very few of them are really good. And when I say few, I literally mean it. I can count them on one hand exactly which ones, and then I can name them. Gene Park, I know you're watching. You beautiful man stud, you. And there's only a few others next to him. But the problem is this: so many game journals do not enjoy video games. And when a video game-ass video game in fact comes around, they lose their mind. Oh, I wasn't led down a linear corridor hallway. I didn't know what to do. I didn't pay attention to the stat points. I tried to beat the Mass Effect game without putting any points into my skill tree. Yeah, that was real, by the way. And then to make matters even worse, we now have the execs and the C-suites literally listening to those exact same people and watching the share price and having investors pull out of a video game that literally could be selling millions of copies, all because some journal decided to go ahead and give the game a bad review because they didn't know how to read a goddamn prompt in a video game. It just sets me on fire, because clearly there are so many things wrong with this industry, but the crazier part is it's the gatekeeping that continually happens because of this. And it's going to get even crazier because the article itself says even more. Check this out. The South Korean company behind Crimson Desert has seen a large dip in its share price following the first reviews of the game. Pearl Abyss, which both publishes and develops Crimson Desert, was sitting on a share price of $43.79 when the market closed on Wednesday. The review embargo for the game then lifted on Wednesday night, and the initial critical reception has been moderately positive, but not overwhelmingly so. As a result, as reported by Seoul Economic Daily, when the stock market opened again today, their share price for Pearl Abyss immediately dropped to $31.90, a drop around 27%. At the time of writing, the market has closed for the day in South Korea, and the final share price was $30.70, making for a total one-day drop of 29.8%. I want you to stop and think about the words that you just heard. Literally, a 30% drop of stock price, not from lack of game sales, mind you. Think about that. Not from lack of game sales, not from lack of players, not from microtransaction sales, but only because the Metacritic score wasn't as high as they wanted it to be, as the actual investors thought it should be. That's why the share price dropped 30%. The amount of power that is given to game journals and to Metacritic is honestly absurd. And in my opinion, Metacritic should in fact not exist. How about that? How about those apples, right? Because Metacritic does nothing, literally, because all it is just the aggregate of every single game journal who doesn't like video games reviewing a video game, and if it's not a third-person cinematic cover-based action adventure game with stealth elements, they don't like it. They don't want to review it. They don't want to talk about it. And clearly, that's exactly what we're seeing. Because every single time this happens, we always see the turnaround and the opposite actually happen in effect. Dragon's Dogma 1 scored a 75 on Metacritic in 2012. Do you want to know how many copies that game sold? Almost 10 million units that game sold throughout that lifespan. Think about that. How important truly is Metacritic when even a game that gets a 75 turns around and sells 10 million copies? This entire idea, this actual mentality, is literally the reason why we have all lost the B+ game. You know that game that used to be 35 to 40 bucks around then, and then you just go pick it up and be like, hey, that was actually pretty good. I wouldn't mind the sequel to this game. I'll keep buying it. It was actually a good, fun romp. Not bad at all. Just a good average game. Because of this mentality, because of every game has to be a 9 out of 10 or it's trash, and every single journalist not understanding what game reviewers actually are supposed to do and what gamers in fact want, we've lost that completely. And the only way we've gained it back is through the indie scene as well. Think about that. Imagine if Slay the Spire 2 was released as a twip-away game and how nobody would have touched it. Yet at the same time, that game has hit 500,000 concurrent users at its actual peak during its release. An early access card battle game that's a roguelike, by the way. The gaming industry does not know what it wants, the gamers know exactly what they want, and nobody is willing to listen to the customer. Instead, they're listening to the pompous game journal who has no clue about video games in the first place. And this is what pisses me off more than anything. But there's more to the article, though, so let's continue. With VGC's article saying this, the game is currently #1 on Steam's top-selling games chart compared to 9th last week, suggesting a large number of players have pre-ordered it as the release nears. Dr. Sikan Toto, CEO of Japan games industry consultancy firm Kanten Games, also noted on X that the game is currently #4 in the US PlayStation sales chart in terms of dollar sales, just behind MLB The Show 26, NBA 2K 26, and Fortnite. Oh, that's right. Yeah, no, I did not stutter. Crimson Desert, even after the stock price lost 30% because the Metacritic scores weren't high enough for their liking, it's the #1 sold game on Steam right now, and the #4 game on PlayStation right now. The two biggest platforms in the gaming industry. It is literally going around and competing with the biggest live service games on consoles and even on PC as well. It's truly shocking to me how all of this is completely just going over the head of every other game journalist on the entire planet and every game CEO, C-suite executive moron on the gaming planet as well. People want video games. They don't care about the Metacritic scores. They don't care about all the bullshit. A couple of people do, and they're actual clowns, by the way. What people care about is the game good? Is the game fun? And if it meets those two criteria, people are going to buy it. That's why RE9 did so well. That's why all the Souls games do so well. That's why Elden Ring crushed it. That's why Baldur's Gate 3, a literal computer role-playing game from a series that hasn't been touched in 20 plus years, by the way, came back from the dead, was made by one of the best studios on the planet, and just demolished not only in sales, but in game awards across the board. It's also why a game like Expedition 33 came out of nowhere at $50 and crushed the ever-living crap out of everything the gaming industry put all their money into. Every single trip away, super developed, overhyped, look at my eyeballs graphics kind of game, when literally going around and a couple of baguettes in a shack ran the entire place to the ground. I just don't get this industry, bro. All they care about are the wrong fucking things. They care about the Metacritic scores. Why? What is that? What is that going to do? You think people are going to not buy a video game because of Metacritic? Are you kidding me? Who listens to game journals? Every single person in the gaming industry right now, every consumer has a YouTuber, a Twitch streamer, and every other person they can go to besides a game journalist website who barely gets any traffic now, by the way. Go to Google Trends and pull up every single game journalist site, and you're going to tell me exactly what's happening compared to views. You want to get your game out in front of people? Love them or hate them, put Asmongold in front of it. You'll see a ton of sales out of nowhere, especially if the game is good and he literally likes it. That is like how anybody can trust the industry itself and the old guard doing anything is honestly absurd. And it gets even crazier because look at the reactions on Twitter. Carrie Galam on Twitter says this: Crimson Desert almost at 200,000 concurrent users. Pretty decent numbers. Nick Tech, a few hours later, Crimson Desert reaches 233,441 concurrent players in 1 hour after launch. This is definitely one of the biggest AAA single-player releases in 2026, right behind Resident Evil 9 Requiem. And Carrie and Nick Tech are absolutely correct. The amount of people playing this game is far higher than anybody actually expected. To get even close into spitting distance of Resident Evil 9 truly goes to show the gaming industry, the game journos, and even the suites and CEO suits do not know anything about their customer base or who they're selling their games to. In fact, game journos get even worse because look at this. Tebow on Twitter says this: hold on a second, IGN gave Crimson Desert a 6 review in progress, which is barely better than the score they gave to 1348X Voto. I know, different reviewers, but to give a game like Crimson Desert a score barely better than one of the worst games I've ever played is wild. And if you want to laugh even harder about how horrible game journals are at their job, IGN gave Dragon Age the Veilguard a 9. A 9. A game. Brother, you cannot make this shit up. And if you think I'm being hyperbolic about the entire game journals will know what they're talking about, take a look at this. Jason Schreier on Blue Sky posted this: I've only played a few hours of the much-hyped Crimson Desert, so weigh my opinion accordingly. But those few hours were so boring and soulless that I absolutely did not want to play anymore. Feels like a game designed for people who just want to consume content. And that's what I'm talking about. That's the stuff that makes me truly angry. Jason Schreier was also the same person who was supporting of Dragon Age Veilguard, saying this: go woke, go top the charts with sales, while literally then the next day reporting that the Dragon Age team got completely gutted and had the rug pulled out from under them. I guess they did go broke, even though you thought they topped the charts. Consume that content, my boy. Game journals do not understand the market. They don't understand the medium. They don't get anything. And the problem is they still hold power in this industry, even though so many YouTubers and other actual streamers have pulled away so many more viewers from these people altogether. For some reason, all these C-suites still listen to people like IGN, to Metacritic, and everything else across the board, and it does nothing to help them in the first place because the disconnect is between the journo and the gamer, and that's the problem. There are so few game journals that literally play video games as their one mode and medium of enjoyment and truly understand what the actual consumer wants in this space. And what they do is they go around and they parade themselves on a consistent basis as if they are the arbiters of everything that is good or bad, even though we've seen game journals have completely hard and shit taste all the time. Right now, as I'm recording this super late at night, Crimson Desert has hit 239,000 peak concurrent players. At the exact same moment, people playing right now is 193,000. What this tells me is simple. Everyone in the gaming industry, whether it's a C-suite or a game journal, doesn't understand the consumer base or the actual gamer alone, and they truly are completely disconnected across the board. On Steam right now, Crimson Desert is the top-selling game at the time of this recording. Also, it is the #4 most played game on Steam, just behind Dota 2, behind Counter-Strike 2 after that insane reload update, and also Slay the Spire 2. If this doesn't tell you how big this game is and how completely disconnected the industry itself is from the consumer, I don't know what else to tell you. Thank God we have indie games. Thank God we have developers that go around and literally listen to the actual users. Thank the heavens that we actually have some game journals who know what the fuck they're talking about and literally play video games not only for their passion, but also because they really enjoy it and they have good takes about it, or they explain the reason why they literally reviewed something. I'm going to be real about this. If you really want to play video games, if you want to actually get video games, not the same slop you've been fed every single time they want to put out a live service game, you have to start playing indie and AA games instead. The depth and breadth of titles that you'll experience is exactly what you'll be looking for, because clearly this AAA space is not built for actual people who want to enjoy the medium. It's built for nothing more than for people who are trying to turn this into a movie-like industry, and it's exactly where it should not go in the first place. It's an interactive medium and one that people are incredibly passionate about, like myself. And I'm going to be honest about this. Even if Crimson Desert isn't for me or for anybody else, that doesn't mean you shouldn't try the game out or expand your tastes or try something new. You never know, you just might like it. And if you don't like it, that's perfectly fine. That isn't the issue. My biggest concern isn't the fact that people may or may not like Crimson Desert. My biggest concern is how the gaming industry is reacting to people who don't even like video games, reviewing them, and then using that as the barometer as to what kind of games you should play, thereby blaming you for their failures, making it your fault. And that's the part that pisses me off more than anything, because we're the ones telling the industry exactly what we want, yet they're refusing to listen. But you know what? I want to hear what you guys got to say about this in the comments section down below. Are you enjoying Crimson Desert? Did you not like the game? I want to hear what you have to say. And speaking about what you have to say, here in fact is the comment of the day from yesterday's video. What the fan art says, credibility takes a lifetime to build and one single mistake to lose. What the fan, you are absolutely 100% correct, and it goes to show the exact same thing happening in today's video. Watching game journals lose that credibility, watching the C-suite and executives not understand what gamers want, and then having to rebuild everything after basically taking a major loss truly is the more astounding thing of all. But you know what? If you want to see more of this kind of content though, more PC port reviews, gaming news, Steam Deck videos, and live streams, subscribe to the channel. If you want Discord access or emotes during those live streams, become a YouTube member. It's as low as $1. If you don't want to spend the buck, don't sweat it. Just come on down Saturday nights, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, live right here on the channel as I wear a banana suit and get insulted by about 800 people with TTS. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. Saturday nights, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, live right here on the channel. With all that being said, though, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a great one, and I'll see you gooners next time. Peace!